In this video, I'm taking you on location with me and a technician to a basic but nasty aerobic septic inspection so you can see exactly what we do from start to finish on a jet system. What's going on, guys? Luke here with Luna Environmental. The aerobic septic system you see us walking up on here is called a jet system. And while there are a few things that make it different from a basic system you might have seen in other videos, these systems have what are called an aerator. The aerator fits inside of the aeration chamber within the aerobic septic system. So without further ado, I want our technician to explain step by step what these inspections look like.
So this one has an aerator instead of a compressor. So if you open this up here, you can tell there's a aerator sits inside the tank. So once I unplug this, you can actually see what goes to it.
Now you're calling this an aerator rather than an air compressor?
Yes. See, it has a shaft, foam deflector, shaft, aspirator. It sucks air from the top here, goes down and disperses the air underneath here. But the other thing that's different with this system is a jet. It's hard to see, but in this one here, it has bat material. It goes in a square. That shaft will sit below the bat material. The air will create the microbes, and then that bacteria will cling onto that bat material and grow the bacteria onto that bat material and treat the wastewater that way. Like I said, it will sit about right here. Then that will sit below that bat material. It will disperse air through the aspirator, create the microbes that grow the bacteria, but that bat material gives the bacteria something to cling to grow bigger. So the first thing I like to do when I'm cleaning an aerator is go ahead and rinse off what you can. And another interesting thing about this aerator is you see a bunch of stuff on here, right? All on the foam deflector. That stuff isn't human waste. It is actually the stuff that does not digest in the system, such as soaps, oils, greases, and fats. So this actually isn't waste. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and kind of knock it off. You take your hand here, you could use a brush, kind of clean it up. This stuff right here that you see right here, you know what that is?
No.
Fabric softener.
Underneath and on the top of the shaft here?
Yeah, this liquid fabric softener turns into like this tarry stuff right here.
Now does that same stuff build up on the inside of the shaft?
It's usually the same thing like soaps. So that's why usually when you see me run water through here, you'll foam up because it's soap.
And how often does one have to clean the inside of the shaft and take this apart?
Every inspection.
How long in your experience do these aerators tend to last?
It's really how good their maintenance. That's why you always want to have a good maintenance company come out and actually do what they're supposed to do. That way that your system, every component in your system will last longer. It's kind of like driving a car. You wouldn't drive it 10,000 miles without getting an oil change. You always want to maintenance everything that's a moving part. So we're going to take this aspirator off so we can go ahead and clean it.
And you're calling the aspirator just this bottom of the shaft?
Yes.
Right here that disperses that air?
And as you can tell, you can get staining on it, but that's the most important part is going to be on the inside. So I like to take this tool here and go ahead and run it in there.
You're just breaking up all that gunk on the inside?
Yes, it can actually, calcium can build up in there, soaps can build up in there, stuff like that. And then we'll kind of just run water through each hole and then run water out. So you can tell all nice and clean. Now the next thing we want to do is rod this aerator. I use something like this with a brush on it. This is a new brush. Hopefully it's flexible enough to get through there. Sometimes it can be kind of hard. It's just like I thought it was. So we're actually gonna rod it without it.
So it being that hard to push through is just because of all of that buildup inside?
Now if you look at the end of it, watch. See all the soap?
Oh, interesting. So all that buildup is soap, fabric softener coming out from inside the shaft?
So we'll pull it out. Like I said, that right there, how it's a tar. That is actually liquid fabric softener. That's what it turns into, but when it hits this tank, it doesn't digest.
Interesting.
Now what we want to do is run water through it. And if you notice, now that I got that gunk out there, there'll still be a little bit of gunk kind of on the walls, but it will suds up. That's all soap.
So all that foam and all that suds, it's because you're just washing all this soap out. Wow, you're right. It foams up a lot.
It's all soap. That's pretty clean. And that is how you clean an aerator.
Now when you're taking a vertical sample like that, why do you want to go straight down and straight up?
That way you don't stir it up too much. You want to go down nice and gentle, touch the bottom and come straight back up. That way you can get a more accurate reading of how much sludge is in here. So if you look, you can tell how solid it is down here. And then about right here, it gets a little spacey. So this will actually settle down to probably about right there. So I'd probably call this about 22 inches of sludge. You can go ahead and release that. How you do it is, just like that, and do it slow. Okay, now you'll splash yourself. Now you're going to come over here to the ATU and do the same thing. Straight down, nice and gentle. Touch the bottom and then straight back up. Just like that. And let me go ahead and get a picture of that as well. And that's gonna be pretty clean. The ATU normally doesn't have any sludge in it because we're obviously introducing bacteria. This is where they're feeding first. Now this one will be a little different, but so I'm gonna let you feel that. Feel here, let me just kind of grab a stick. Watch. There should be a slant in here. See how it did that? So you don't want to hit that slant. You'll pick up a lot of sludge off the outside. See how I hit that wall? So when you take this sludge sample, you want to go at that angle. Just like that, and then back up. Okay, drop it. Now this is the pump tank. Now this is where the water gets pumped out. So it won't have as much water as those do. Nice and clean. That's what you're looking for on your effluent. You want it to be clear, no sludge, no muggy color, no murky color.
Specifically in the pump tank.
Specifically in the pump tank. This is what's about to be sprayed out on your yard. So you want it to be nice and clean.
Because what would the problem be if it wasn't nice and clean in that tank?
Well, you could be spraying a lot of sludge, nasty effluent out in your yard. You know, if you got dogs, kids, they could be running out there tracking that stuff in. So you want it to be clean, clear, and chlorinated. That way you don't have any issues in your yard for your kids, your dogs, etc. All right, Basil, now you're gonna grab the float stick. See that yellow float right there? So it's good to do it like this so you can't drop it. You can see we got the alarm over there. That's what that is, that's the alarm float. You wanna be gentle with those. Okay, I'm gonna lift this up again. I want you to hold it, because the float's down. All right, hold that right there.
So are the technicians holding the pump float up right now, right, Brian?
Yeah, so that way I can come over here and actually look at it, get a good picture for the report, as well as I like to take my residual sample off of the spray head, because this is obviously the last part of the system before it comes in contact with the customer. This is the best place to see your chlorine residual.
So you want to grab some water out of the sprinkler.
I'm gonna get about 10 milliliters of water. I'm gonna mix an agent in there, let it sit for a minute or two, then I'm gonna run it through my little computer and see what the actual chlorine residual is to make sure the chlorinator is chlorinating properly and not too much chlorine or not enough chlorine.
So we want to take the water from the sprinkler specifically to test the chlorine, because essentially what we want to see is what's the chlorine residual in the water that's being sprayed out. How clean or how sanitized, with chlorine specifically, is the final effluent wastewater that gets sprayed out of the system. We're looking for, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere between 0.01 and 1 parts per million chlorine inside of that residual sample.
Yes. So I'm gonna take some agent. It's a little packet here. I'm gonna dump it into the water. Just as so. And mix it up. And then you wanna let it sit, like I said, for a couple of minutes. This is normally when I like to get everything kind of put back together on the tank, work efficiently. That way we're not wasting any time on location. It's very important when you're putting a shaft aerator back into the tank. You do not want to bang around that shaft. This thing has bearings. If you bend the shaft, you can throw the bearings, obviously causing the aerator to go out. So you want to be very careful when putting it back in the hole, just as so. Now you can hear the aerator actually sucking really good air. That's what you're looking for, which is indicating, when you can see a little pink tint in there, that's what we're looking for. It's indicating that there is actually chlorine present in that water. That's what that agent does. You know, you can actually, maybe, you know, if you had a chart, you could actually just look at it and match it. I actually have this computer here, 0.65, beautiful.
Now, Brian, we always document everything for the homeowner so that we have like a whole history on the system, right?
Yes, 100%. That's the only way you can maintain, is to actually document it and keep records, which we are excellent at keeping records around here.
And Brian, we're just using Clorox bleach here.
Yes.
In this easy chlorinator, so that's allowed as household bleach.
Yes, and this one is actually concentrated, which we don't really like, but as you can tell, we're actually mixing it up with a bucket of water to dilute it a little bit so it's not so concentrated.
Got it. I also saw that this was kind of preferred by the homeowner specifically.
Yes.
I just want to highlight a couple things as we're closing up the rest of the lids and finishing up the maintenance inspection. Regarding the pump tank, when we took that vertical sample and we saw that really clear water, one of the reasons why we always test every single chamber inside the aerobic septic system to measure the scum and the sludge level, which makes up our total solids level inside of every one of these tanks, is because in that pump tank, when we often find lots of solids, lots of sludge, essentially you're pushing those solids out into the sprinklers, out into the yard. That's how pumps go bad. It's how filters have to get really clogged and have to get replaced, cleaned. Red lights go off. It's how you get high water levels in the pump tank, because you're not able to pump things out properly because there's too many solids in there. It causes all sorts of downstream issues. And Brian, am I right to say that in terms of figuring out how high your solids level is, doing a sludge judge test is really the only way to figure it out?
Yes, having someone come out on a routine basis once every 4 months, taking these samples to monitor how much sludge is actually being built up within 4 months will actually help you maintain your system better in the house, because that's obviously a big deal as well, you know, how you treat the septic from inside the house.
All right guys, if you're located in Central Texas and you're looking for a great septic maintenance company, you can contact us directly in the YouTube description box below. And by the way, if you got value from this video, you will also get value from the video on screen where we show you exactly what to do if your red alarm light is going off.